In the last video we made this chat bubble, so if we just press F5 we should see that. So type anything into the two boxes, and we made this little chat control here, the bubble. If we go to the repository, the GitHub repo, into the mockups, you can see this is really the bubble for a message that you receive, and then we need to do this message that we send, so we need to style it different. We also, for quickness, didn't make a view model, we just bound this to this list at the side. So let's go ahead and make a view model first, and then we'll go from there. So in the word core, right click on the view model, add new folder, and we're inside chat, but we want to make a chat list and put all that inside, and then we'll make a new folder. Oh, that didn't go in the right place. Inside chat, and then make another folder, and we'll call this chat message. And then we want to make a view model for all of the chat message. It's going to be very similar, so we can just copy and paste this one, open it up, add the word message to the start, change the comment, a view model for the, or for a chat message thread. And apologies for talking a little bit slow, I cut my thumb today, that's why the video was a bit late, so I'm having to type with one and a bit hands at the moment, so that's why I'm a little bit slow at typing, so you just have to put up with that. Chat message list item we'll also create in a minute. The chat thread items for this list. We'll rename the file. Then we'll copy the item from the chat list item because it's very similar. In here, this will be the chat message list item. View model for each chat message thread item in a chat thread. Then the display name of this chat list. Well, this is a message, so this we're going to rename to sender name. So the display name of the sender of the message. Then we've got a message, initials, profile picture. New content available is not valid for this. Is selected we'll leave in because we'll have some additional things when you select the message. We've got the sender name, so we also want to add a boolean for if it's sent by me, we'll call this, which means, you know, sent by this user, whoever signed into the application. Taking a long while to type. So that's the sent by me, and that flag will be used with to style this control like this, so to the right or to the left and with a different color, because this is going to be a list of all messages in the, you know, a specific thread, and that can include messages from yourself. So that's the point of sent by me, because you'll include the messages you've also created. We also then want a boolean for if the message was read or not, which actually we need to create the time first. So we'll have a date time offset, control dot and enter to add the namespace, message read time, and that is the time the message was read, or datetime offset dot min value if not read. Then we'll have copy and paste that. We've got a read time and we've also got a sent time whenever the message was actually sent. And that can't be, well actually this could also be a min value, because we might have a message to the list that's pending, that's currently being sent, but for now we're just going to ignore that part. We're just going to have a message sent time and we can come back to that. And then for a flag, we need to know if the message was read or not, so that we can show this red text if it is and simply not show it if it isn't. We want to have another property called a message read, and this time it's just a getter, so there's no need for a setter, and that will be if the message read time is greater than datetime offset dot min value. And I think that'll do for our view model. We can always come back and add things, so click here, rename this file as well. Now we've got the view model, we need to make some design view models as well so we can visually test and create the controls inside the designer. So add another folder inside chat message and call it design. We'll just copy these again. So copy the chat list design model, drag it into the chat message design folder, call this chat message design model, and it will be a chat message list view model. Control click and Control C for copy, and then keep Control down and press V to paste, and we can replace all these with the new name. And then in here we can now create some example messages. So we have the name is now sender name, which will say is Luke. In fact, if we look at this, so sender name here will do top to bottom, so this will be Parnell. In fact, just leave it as Parnell. The initials PL. In fact, we can drag this. Nah, let's do it this way actually. I'm about to wipe the old server. We need to update the old Windows server. So I'll put a message similar to that. The old server to. So that'll do for now for that message. The color will keep the same. New content's not there anymore. Is selected, we don't care about. Read time, well in this example we don't have a read time. It's our message we set to read. But we do want to set the sent time, and for now we'll just set that to whatever time it currently is in the application. So finding it difficult to type with two fingers on the left hand. Datetime offset dot UTC now. And then what else is there? Message sent by me in this case is false. It's false by default, but we'll declare it for now so it's obvious. And that's the first one. Copy and paste that. And we've got 3 messages in this mock-up UI, so I'll have 3 here. The second one is sent by the signed in user. and I say, let me know when you manage to spin up the new Windows 2016 server. That's that. Sent by me. Message sent time. So we want a read time for this as well. Message read time, and we'll make a time up so it's different. We'll do date time offset dot UTC now dot subtract and date time offset dot UTC now dot no, what am I doing? Probably want time span. That's it. Time span dot from days. And we'll just go back, say, a day and a bit, just to give it some random time. So that will just set a read time of, you know, a day and a third of a day ago. So it just makes it look like a different time. And finally, the last message. The new server is up. Go to blah, blah, blah. Username is admin. The new server is up. So... admin password is word. And we'll also insert a new line here. I'll be lazy for now and just put return carriage new line instead of an actual system environment new line. And let's test if that shows up correctly as well. So there is the design model for the list. Rename this file, and then we need to copy the item itself. So copy the other one, drag it into the design folder, open up, rename to chat message, chat message list item view model. And then, it doesn't really matter what this is, that'll stay all like that. We want to take a look at creating the sent bubble, so this bubble. So we'll set a read date, a sent date, and also sent by me, so that we can try and style this version of the control. So sent by me will be true. Then sent message sent time equals date time offset now. Read time will do the same thing, date time offset dot now dot subtract time span from days. So we've got a sent by me, sent time, read time, message. I think that's everything for now. So if we save that, make sure we can compile. Okay, so now we want to open the actual control. So let's start with the item itself. And we need to now bind this data to the new chat model. So first we need to bind the border, which is just because it's the top level control, to the design time. We only want this to show up in this window visually as the design time. So that wants to be design time data context is binding, and it's in core. It's the chat, what was it called? Design time. We didn't rename this file as well. Let's click there, rename file. It's this item here, copy the class name, paste dot instance. Invalid property syntax because we don't have core specified here. So add it here to the namespace. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think it just needs building. There we go. So we're now bound to hopefully the design time model, which I think unfortunately chat message list item design model. We give it the exact same information, so let's just change this to some design time visual text, and then compile that. And at least this time we can visually see them when we bind the text. So we've bound the data context in design time to the design time model like the previous one. Now if we go to the text block here for this, we can do binding to initials, I think it is. And that doesn't appear to be working. So it is initials, it is this, it is the instance. Interesting. So that's not working. Oh, I know, I don't think it's binding. You're not binding to this, it's the actual instance, the static instance itself. It's x:static. There we go. And now it's appearing here. Then we've got the text bound here. We want to bind, or the initials rather, we want to bind the text as well. So let's get rid of this text and do a binding to message. There we go. This is some design time visual text. Then we've got the time here, and we bind this to binding message sent time, and you can see this then just dumps the entire message to a string. So we want to make sure we convert that to a more user-friendly string, so let's might as well do that now. So if we go to value converters, let's just copy and paste any of them that's Boolean. And we'll call this time to display time converter. Takes in a date and converts it to a user-friendly time. Then the first thing we want to do is get the time, which is going to be a date time offset. And then we want to say, if you look at this, if it's sent today, we just give the time. Otherwise, we just give the date in a different format. So really the only special thing we want to do is, if it is today, which we can define by if time.date equals date time offset dot now dot date. So the date is basically, if you're in a date time offset like UTC now, which is right now, if you do date inside that, it removes all the time. So this would be like midnight at 0 seconds, 0 hours, 0 minutes of today. So this was like, you know, the first instance of the day. So if you strip out the time of the value and also strip out the time of now and compare, then that means if it's equal, we are on today, basically. And if we are, then we can return the time. And because this is just an offset, we need to go to local time, which will pick up this machine's current time. And then do toString. And we'll just want to show the hours in 24-hour format and the minutes. So obviously you Americans don't do 24-hour clocks usually. So if you want 12-hour clocks, you can do lowercase h. And then if you wanted the AM PM, I can't remember what the toString format thing is here, but if you just Google C# date time string format, there'll be a special character. It may just be a single H, maybe I don't know, there'll be a specific character you do to give you the AM or PM value there. But I'm going to stick with 24-hour clocks because I'm in the UK and that's like the standard here. And then if it's not today, so if it's not today, we just want to return a full date. So then we just return time dot to local time dot to string, and we'll do the hours and the minutes the same, but then we'll also do the month and the year. So it's like a full string. We don't need to convert back, so we've now got a time to display time converter. So in here where we've got the message sent time, we will add the converter, and that will be local time to display time converter. Compile, and there we have it. So now it's saying it's 4:19, which it is. It's 4:19 down here. So that's that text. And let's make that a little bit bolder actually. So let's try regular. That looks better. We also need the red date. So you might display the sent time and the red date in one. So let's first wrap this text block in a stack panel. Move that text block inside. This is the sent time. The grid row is now for the stack panel, not for the text block. And we can simply copy and paste the sent time. And this will be the red time. And you can see it's gone down. We need to alter the stack panel orientation to horizontal. Now the side by side. So now we want a bit of padding between these two. I'll just zoom in on this a bit. So I want a bit of padding between these. So on the first one, let's just add a margin. Left 0, top 0, right 15. And that gives us a 15. I think that's a little bit too much. Let's try 10. No, 15's okay. And then for the red time, it's the message red time, and we'll need a new converter for this because we don't want to display the red time if it's not been read, if it's the date time minimum. And we also want to change this color to dark blue. There we go. So the color's right, and you can see now because it's not today, it's yesterday, it's also correctly styled the date string using this converter, but we need a new converter now anyway. So let's just make a new converter for the red date. So let's go to the current converter. Forgot to rename the file again. And let's copy that date to display time, because it's going to be similar to that. This time it will be date to red date, or red time converter. Converts a converter that takes a date and converts it to a user-friendly message red time. Copy and paste that into the generic. Get the time passed in, and now before if it's today, we still want to do this. Well, we want to do this, but we want to return a string that says red, and then pass that in. So we want to prepend what we're returning with the word red. That's the only real difference there. But then, as well as that, if it is not red, so in this case, if the time equals date time offset dot min value, then return string dot empty. So basically, if the red time hasn't been set, we simply don't show it. And that's all there is to that one. Copy the name. Let's rename the file. I think I forgot to do that again. Yep. And in the message red, change the converter to the red time, which I think we'll have to compile to see that update. There we go. So now it says 16:24, so 4:24, which is the current time. And then red at 9:12, so it's red a day and a bit ago. So that's looking okay. Now the other thing we've got to do, bear in mind this is a message I've apparently sent, so it should look like this. It should be on the right hand side, not the left. It should be a different colour, and it should hide the initial badge. So let's start by binding all those things together. So here's a profile picture. So we want the visibility of this to be bound. So visibility binding to SentByMe, and we've already got a converter for that, the Boolean converter, and by default you can see it's now gone in the correct way, so that's now hidden for messages that were sent by me. Next we need to align this stuff to the right, so I think we'll want to align this whole grid at a guess. Let's try that. Yeah, that works. So we want to change this to a binding here. I want to be bound to SentByMe, and we want a converter which we need to create, which will be we'll go and make that now. Just copy and paste any converter. Let's rename this to SentByMe to alignment converter. Takes in a boolean if a message was sent by me and aligns to the right. If not sent by me, aligns to the left. And then we want to delete all that. We want to return if the value passed in, so if it is sent by me, we return a horizontal alignment of right, otherwise we return a left. So that's the new name of the converter. Rename the file, and then add the converter there, and build. And hopefully that'll work. Obviously not. Watford, I'm wrong. Horizontal alignment, binding, converter equals. Let's type that again. Converter equals SentByMe to alignment. Close. Oh, not close. Get rid of that. There we go. So now we have a right aligned message apart from this bubble arrow thing. So copy the horizontal alignment, go to the bubble, which is there, and paste in the alignment to that as well. Oh, hang on, speech bubble rectangle, that's not it. There we go, chat bubble anchor. And there's that aligned over there. So let's just press F5 and run this now. Type in anything in here. You can see there, oh, we've also got to bind this list. And we've also got a blue background, I've noticed here, which we added just for while we were designing to visually see. So let's just remove that. Well, actually, let's leave that in, but let's remember to move that last. What were we doing? Oh yeah, we need to bind the actual chat message list control to now the chat message design model we made. So change that to the chat message list design model. And press F5 and we should see... Oh, and we've... Actually, that's right, yeah. So there we go. So there's the three messages we added. You can see this one shows the red. This one, these two are aligned correctly. That one's aligned to the right and left. I think we want a little bit of padding here at the right. And can add a little bit there. In fact, no, because that's already, the bubble is physically spaced off, and that just adds there. So let's just add padding to the right there. This is also aligned to the top. We need to align this to the bottom. So let's fix those few things first. But you'll notice the speech bubble now, just from view model binding, this is the exact same control, and yet we've got left and right. We've got to finish it off, but you can see it already, you know, coming together. So let's start with, this is designer height 600. You can see this is aligned at the top, so let's just align this grid to the bottom, which it won't matter once it's full because then it will fill, but if it's not the full size then it'll align to the bottom. So let's just check that works. There we go, so that's fixed that a little bit. We wanted padding on the right, and then we'll colour this chat bubble as well. So back in here, thanks Visual Studio for swapping my screens around. Padding, so we want to add, probably to the grid, the chat message container I'd say. Let's add a margin, left of nothing, top nothing, right 15, bottom nothing. Oh, we've already got one. Okay, left, top, right 15. In fact, let's put 25 so it's even on both sides, and let's see if that looks okay. Which I think it will, because then you've got it perfectly even. There, yeah, that's better. So now you've got the exact same white space here, disregarding the image, that we have here. And you can resize that way. So all that's left now is to style this blue, and then we only really want these times displaying when you hover your mouse over, I'd say. So we'll add some animation there. Right, so let's colour this background next. We've got the background here, so let's do light blue first. Let's see what it looks like. I think it's very light blue. That looks a little bit too light for me. Let's just darken that blue up a little bit first. We use that for the hover selection, but I think that looks a lot lighter than this blue. So we'll make that a little bit darker. We just go to... where are we? Styles, colours. And then very light blue should be in here. There we are. Let's just make this a little bit bluer. So C3, E5, F3. And probably have to... oh, that's already done it. Yeah, that looks better now. That's clearly more blue. So we want to use the very light blue if it's sent by us. So the background changes to a binding again. Bind it to SentByMe and bind the converter to SentByMe to background converter, we'll call it. And then let's go and make that. So copy the SentByMe to alignment. Rename it to SentByMe to background. Converter that takes an boolean of the message sent by me and returns the correct background color. So again, if it's sent by me, then we need to get the color. So if it's sent by me, we want that blue, which is called this one here, word very light blue brush. So copy that name, and then in order to get that from the XAML resource file, we need to do application.current.find resource, and then pass in the name of that brush. If it's not sent by us, then we want to return the white color, which was the back to colors. There, foreground light brush. So that'll be the two brushes. We've already linked it in, so if we compile, this should then just show up. There we go. So now that background we want to copy and paste to this little rectangle-y thing as well, which is in fill. So we change the fill binding this time. Paste in the background, rename to fill. And there we can see we've got the background. So let's just F5 this and make sure that both background colors work. Oh, and there we go, that's looking nice now. So if what's left? We want the hover on this text, I think, next. So we don't want this always visible. We want to just show that when we hover over the actual item. Now we can do that in a few ways. We want it when we're hovering over the grid. So this, we can either do this grid, which I think is, it's everything, which I don't think we want that one, because you don't want the text to appear if you're hovering all the way over here. I think we want to dig in and go to this grid, the chat message container. So inside this grid, which is actually here, we do grid.triggers, because we want to listen out for an event trigger, because an event trigger can trigger a storyboard, which we want to do. We want to animate this in. So the event trigger, rooted event, and it's mouse enter. And then same as before, we've done this inside some styles. You begin a storyboard, and the storyboard will have a target name. And the target name we want to basically fade in and out this stack panel we made here, this time container. So let's give this a name. Name equals I don't know, extended details or something like that, or extra details. Doesn't really matter what you call it. Copy that name, paste it into the target name, so that's what we want to animate. And the target property is opacity, which is basically the I don't know what else to describe opacity. The transparency. So 0 opacity is invisible and 1 is solid. Then that will be a double animation, as we mentioned, to go from on mouse over, it'll go from invisible of 0 to solid of 1. And for the time, I don't know, let's do hours, minutes, seconds. We'll do half a second, say. So on hover over, we should get the opacity going from 0 to 1. Then if we copy the event trigger, in fact, let's also comment this. Mouse over shows time. Copy and paste down there. Mouse leave hides time. This will be mouse leave. Do everything the same, but this time from visible to invisible. And then let's start off this stack panel as being invisible, so opacity of 0. And I think that should work. So there you can see the times have gone. Oh, that's nice. And then when you hover over, the time fades in, and that one does, and that one does. It's quite nice. I'm not sure about that. Get a little flicker if we flash through them, and that'll be because we have a... Where's it gone? We set the from, so I'm wondering whether... Oh, this will work without a from. And then it'll only fade out from wherever it currently is, and that might stop that harsh flickering. Oh yeah, that's worked. So now it will only fade out from where it currently is. So if you going over fast, it doesn't do anything. And we could do the other way around, so we don't get that flicker the same way when we quickly go out and in. So let's just remove the from again, so we're never forcing it to be somewhere. The from just becomes what the current value is. And those little touches are what make the application much nicer. There we go, there's no more flickering at all now. It's no matter what you do, it's a really smooth transition to show, the time. So I think that's looking nice. We compare that to the application, or the original Photoshop file. You can see that's now looking really nice and very similar. We've obviously got a lot more, as I keep saying. This is going to take us a while to do the full chat bubble. So we've got, I think the next video what we'll do is create this top bar. We'll just put the buttons in. We won't do the search feature yet. We'll just get the actual top bar in with the 2 buttons, and again that button we won't do anything with just now. Maybe we'll do a little drop down list with some random text and buttons in, like a little mini drop down. We might do that. And then we'll add this bar, and again we'll just add the basic bar for now, and we'll add this typing, and then we'll bounce back and forward between making bubbles that can display pictures, say, in here, and doing, say, this right box and doing emojis, so you can see emojis inside the text, and doing links to websites. So there's a lot that goes into this now, but if you think the application is 99% this window now, so this window is really done for the most part. You'd click here and this would load here. That'd just go to another list of some people. There's your chat, and that would be a list by people instead, and that'd filter by photos and just show you some photos, and that'd be a basic settings page. So there's not really much. I know the app doesn't look like it's anywhere near complete yet, but you'll be surprised that to do all these other pages, it's very little effort. and the bulk of the work now is left in this screen. So there's a lot to do here and to add. So we'll keep doing videos and doing it in chunks. And I think just so this starts looking more complete, we'll do the top header and the message box here. And then we'll go between, you know, the attachments, the emojis showing, the typing, and then the photos in here. And we'll just keep going around until we get this done. So it's really starting to come together now and look complete. So if there's anything else you want to see, or there's a particular order you'd like to have things done in, I'm always open to suggestions. I simply pick something when I come to do the videos, and I just choose where I want to go. So if you want to see a specific thing next more than something else, just leave a comment, and if enough of you have the same request, then I can always do a video on that specific thing. So again, I think this was one of those videos that was maybe a little bit boring. The last one we did, you know, a nice new chat bubble, and then you have to go back and clean up and add view models and style them for the other side, like this video. So there's always times when you get a really exciting video, and then another time when there's things just have to be done that are to make the application, you know, real world, and this is one of those. So I'm hoping it was exciting enough for you guys to learn how to use one control that can be completely restyled just based on view model binding, and hopefully that was, you know, interesting enough. And then the next video, like I say, I'll probably jump onto the write message area. So again, you dive straight into making some, you know, nice UI. Again, all comments are welcome, so just let me know what you think, and I'll see you next time.